Monrovia, Liberia. The air is thick with humidity and the smell of burning trash. Inside the faded lobby of a local hotel, a heavy-set man in flip-flops wipes sweat from his forehead. He looks like a lost tourist, unassuming and sloppy, waiting for a business partner. But the walls have eyes. Hidden cameras are positioned in the potted plants and the ceiling vents. In a van parked down the street, agents from the Drug Enforcement Administration hold their breath. They check their weapons and adjust their earpieces, waiting for the signal. The stakes are impossibly high. The man in the lobby is not a tourist. He is the most dangerous cybercriminal on the planet. If he senses a trap and leaves this room, he disappears back into the digital ether, taking the keys to a billion-dollar empire with him. To understand why the US government is hunting a computer programmer in West Africa, we must dissect the machine he built. Paul Le Roux is not a cartel boss in the traditional sense. He does not rule through blood alone. He rules through code, encryption, and logistics. And his empire begins with a simple, terrifying innovation, RX Limited. It is an online pharmacy network designed to flood the United States with painkillers. But unlike street dealers, Le Roux operates with the corporate efficiency of a Fortune 500 company, creating a digital supply chain that is untraceable. The system is compartmentalized into independent silos. Call centers in the Philippines handle customer orders. Corrupt doctors in the US digitally sign prescriptions without ever seeing a patient. Pharmacies ship the pills via FedEx. Each piece of the chain operates in isolation, unaware of the others. Le Roux protects this network with his own creation, E4M, or encryption for the masses. It is the precursor to TrueCrypt, software so robust that even the NSA struggles to crack it. He runs his criminal organization on servers that leave absolutely no paper trail for law enforcement. The money pours in by the hundreds of millions. With unlimited capital, Le Roux decides to expand beyond pills. He wants to sell everything to everyone. He envisions an Amazon for the underworld, a marketplace where warlords and rogue states can buy missile guidance systems as easily as books. The logistics become increasingly physical and violent. He leases tuna fishing boats to smuggle cocaine from South America to Australia. He buys gold in Ghana to launder his profits. He hires former Special Forces soldiers from the US and Europe to serve as his personal security detail. This is where the digital world bleeds into reality. Le Roux stops acting like a CEO and starts acting like a warlord. He orders the bombing of competitors' offices. He directs his mercenaries to assassinate employees who steal from him. The programmer has become a merchant of death. But every system has a glitch, and Le Roux's glitch is his own arrogance. He believes he is smarter than the authorities. He begins negotiating deals for methamphetamine sourced from North Korea, confident that his encryption and his location in the Philippines make him untouchable to American justice. The DEA, however, finds a crack in the firewall. They turn one of his associates, a man who fears Le Roux's erratic violence more than he fears prison. They begin a long, slow game of cat and mouse, feeding Le Roux the bait he cannot resist, a massive cocaine deal. The trap is set in Liberia. The DEA creates a fictitious Colombian cartel looking for a logistics partner. They promise Le Roux access to a new market, a chance to become the primary distributor for South American cocaine in Europe. His greed overrides his caution. Le Roux flies to Monrovia, believing he is meeting the Colombians. He leaves the safety of his compound in Manila, exposing himself physically for the first time in years. He walks into the meeting room, ready to negotiate the transport of tons of narcotics. Back in the hotel room, the trap snaps shut. As Le Roux discusses the finer points of money laundering and meth production with the undercover agents, the recording devices capture every word. The evidence is irrefutable. The agents give the signal and the Liberian police storm the building. Le Roux is arrested without a single shot fired. He looks confused, almost insulted, as the handcuffs click around his wrists. He is immediately driven to the airport, where a DEA charter plane is waiting on the tarmac, engines running, ready to extract him before local bribery can interfere. On the flight back to the United States, the reality of his situation settles in. He is facing life in prison. But Le Roux is a creature of logic, not loyalty. Before the plane even lands, he makes a calculation. He decides to trade his empire for his freedom. Upon landing, the mastermind flips. He agrees to become a cooperating witness for the US government. The man who ordered hits and smuggled missiles is now the DEA's most valuable asset. He is given a phone and a laptop and told to continue running his business. This is the most dangerous phase of the operation. Le Roux must pretend everything is normal while secretly recording his own employees. He instructs his top hitmen to gather for a job, effectively luring his own loyal soldiers into a trap designed by their boss. The target is a team of mercenaries led by a man codenamed Rambo. These are hardened operators, former military men who have killed for Le Roux in half a dozen countries. They believe they are traveling to Thailand to oversee a drug shipment, unaware the police are waiting. The sting in Thailand is executed with military precision. The mercenaries are arrested, their weapons seized. They sit in their cells, stunned, waiting for Le Roux to bail them out. They have no idea that the orders sending them to prison came directly from him. Le Roux's cooperation goes deeper. He exposes the North Korean meth connection, detailing how the Hermit Kingdom produces the purest crystal meth in the world to fund its regime. He reveals the shipping routes, the shell companies, and the bank accounts used to move the cash. Agents raid a yacht in the Pacific, finding damning evidence of his smuggling operations. They uncover plans for a coup in the Seychelles, where Le Roux intended to overthrow the government and install himself as the ruler of a pirate island nation. The scope of his ambition is terrifying. He wasn't just building a business, he was building a state. He had plans to build a compound protected by automated machine gun turrets and landmines. He was designing a drone delivery system for drugs long before Amazon considered it for packages. But the darkest secrets are the bodies. Le Roux begins to confess to the murders. He details the assassination of a real estate agent who cheated him. He explains how he ordered the execution of a ship captain who he suspected of skimming profits from a gold deal. The descriptions are cold and clinical. To Le Roux, these people were not human beings. They were broken lines of code that needed to be deleted. He admits to the killings with the same flat tone he uses to explain server architecture or shipping manifests. The families of the victims are horrified. They watch as the man responsible for the deaths of their loved ones cuts a deal with the government. The moral ambiguity of the situation is thick. The mastermind is buying his life by selling out the people who followed his orders. In federal court, Le Roux takes the stand. He testifies against his former hitmen, the very men he hired and trained. The defense attorneys are stunned by his demeanor. He shows no remorse, no emotion, only a terrifyingly precise memory of dates, times, and payments. The jury listens to the tale of a villain who seems plucked from a spy novel, a man who sat in a dark room in Manila, ordering deaths via encrypted text messages while eating junk food. The banality of his evil is what makes it so disturbing. His testimony secures convictions. The hitmen are sent away for life. The drug traffickers are dismantled. The Amazon of the underworld is broken apart, its assets seized, its servers shut down. The DEA celebrates one of the biggest victories in its history. But the victory comes with a bitter aftertaste. For his cooperation, Paul Le Roux receives a sentence of 25 years. With time served and good behavior, he could be a free man in his 60s. The man who reshaped modern crime will eventually walk out of prison. The legacy of Paul Le Roux is not just the crimes he committed, but the blueprint he left behind. He showed the cartels that they didn't need to be thugs. They needed to be corporations. He proved that IT is a more powerful weapon than an AK-47. Today, his encryption software is still used by criminals and privacy advocates alike. The innovations he introduced to drug trafficking, remote management, siloed logistics, cryptocurrency payments, have become the industry standard. He upgraded the underworld, and there is no downgrading it now. The physical violence has ended, but the digital ghost remains. Somewhere in the cloud there are likely Bitcoin wallets containing millions of dollars that only Le Roux has the keys to. Money that is sitting there, waiting for his release, accruing value in the dark. His former associates live in constant fear. They know that Le Roux is a man who holds grudges and plays the long game. Even from a prison cell, his reach feels infinite. They check their cars for trackers and their phones for spyware. The story of Paul Le Roux forces us to confront the changing face of war and crime. The enemies of the future will not always be warlords in camouflage. They will be overweight programmers in flip-flops, wielding algorithms that can destabilize nations from a hotel Wi-Fi connection. He blurred the lines between cybercrime and kinetic warfare. He bought land, ships, and gold, but he controlled them with zeros and ones. He was a pioneer of a new dark age, where the physical world is just a peripheral for the digital mastermind. As the camera zooms out from the prison walls that currently hold him, we are left with a chilling realization. Le Roux was caught because he made mistakes. He got arrogant. He got sloppy. But the next version of him is already out there. Somewhere in a quiet room, bathed in the glow of monitors, another genius is writing code. They are studying Le Roux's errors, patching the glitches, and building a newer, smarter, more invisible engine for crime. And this time, they might not come out of the shadows.